सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं पुराण न्याय मीमांसा धर्मशास्त्रांग मिश्रिताः वेदाः स्थानानि विद्यानां धर्मस्य च चतुर्दश आयुर्वेदो धनुर्वेदो गान्धर्वश्चैव ते त्रयः अर्थशास्त्रं चतुर्थन्तु विद्याः अष्टादशैव ताः ओम शांतिः शांतिः शांतिः. Namaste. I welcome everyone who is watching this video. This video is brought to you by Indica Bhasha. Today we are in conversation with Shri Vinoth Kumar Avarkar. This is the second video that Indica Bhasha is recording with Dr. Kumar. Before this, he spoke broadly on Indian knowledge systems and the language Tamil. In today's video, he's going to get more specific and talk specifically about Nigandu, which is loosely Thesaurus, but it is not just that much, and he will elaborate more, and Kanakadhikaaram, which has got to do with mathematics. With these few words, I'd like to welcome Shri Vinoth Avarkar. Vinoth, please introduce yourself briefly and proceed.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, in our first video, we have just analyzed some contributions of Tamil towards Indian knowledge system. And I am here today to take two specific topics regarding it. First thing. And my introduction is again Vinoth Kumar. I am working on contribution of Tamil towards IKA system and just reviving our Gurukula and traditional education pedagogy in Tamil Nadu. This is my brief introduction. Let us go to the video directly so that we can get more ideas. So today we'll be talking on two important topics. One is mathematics. Next is Nigandu. As he said, it can be roughly translated as Thesaurus. So we will see what both are. I start with mathematics, which is called Kanakadhikaaram. Then we go for Nigandu. So what is Kanakadhikaaram basically? We have textbooks for every subject today. Our subjects is very simple today and it is not very elaborated or it doesn't have more topics because we have only English, Tamil, Maths, Science, Social. So when you go for higher education, we may have physics, chemistry, and maybe around 100. But in those days, in ancient Bharat, we have a lot of subjects in various departments actually. And we have a lot of text for all subjects also. Likewise, in Tamil Nadu, we have textbooks for many subjects, particularly mathematics. Here, the mathematics are 100% application oriented. These are some of the names of textbooks which have been used in Padasalai and Pallikudam. I use the word Padasalai, which is called Thinnai Pallikudam. We have Thinnai Pallikudam in every village, maximum in every streets, where the kids have been taught the basic mathematics, basic language. So basics of language and mathematics are taught in their own street in the form of Thinnai Pallikudam, and we have a lot of Padasalai, excluding Veda Padasalai. So these are some of the textbooks used in those days. It is called Arambam, Kanakadhikaaram, Kilvai, Kulimatru, Kiralambam, Adisaram, Kanida Ratnam, Sirukanaku, Asthana Kolagalam. But unfortunately, we have lost all these texts except few. We have Kanakadhikaaram with us, we have Asthana Kolagalam with us. That too, we have not got all the text. A selected script has been protected and they have been printed back from OHOD. Others, we don't know the status of other textbooks or other texts. And all these texts are in the form of a poetry. We call this as Cheyyul in Tamil. So it is formed in the Cheyyul. So even the textbooks in Tamil language will be in the form of a Cheyyul. Which means, for example, when we take Kanakadhikaaram, if a text is meant for a 6th standard student, he should know to read the poetry and be able to understand the poetry so that he can understand the problems in mathematics. I think you get the point. For example, in the modern mathematics, we can see we have statement problems. So statement problems, you define a problem. The student should understand the statement and then start solving the problems. And the statement problems does not cover the whole syllabus. It may be 10% or 20%. The max text will be in the statement problems. But in those days, in Tamil Nadu, maybe in many languages of Bharat also, the mathematics problems are in the form of poetry, which means the students are well versed in the language. It may be Tamil, it may be Kannadam, or it may be Sanskritam. They are well versed in the language in the lower classes so that they can understand the poetry and then decode. I should say decode the poetry and then find the solution for the problems. So here I am here to talk about two texts. One is called Kanakadhikaaram and Asthana Golagam. I just take Kanakadhikaaram for some time. Kanakadhikaaram also, though it is said it is written by one poet or one mathematician, it is also a correction of many texts of mathematics. It is assumed to be the text in the 15th century, but it is not a pure text. The pure text in the sense, it is not a particular text. It is also a collection of many poems written before that 15th century, and he has collected it and gave us a Toguppu Nool. It's a collection actually. Even Asthana Golagalam is considered to be a Toguppu Nool because the text has been found in various variety in various places, and they have referred as Kanakadhikaaram. Maybe Kanakadhikaaram can be a common name used for mathematical textbooks. Kanaka is generally mathematics. Adhikaram may be the form of poetry. So Kanakadhikaaram should have been referred to the format of mathematics textbooks. So the many texts which we got from many OLHOD has a name called Kanakadhikaaram, and it has been collected, and the collected version may be called as a Kanakadhikaaram today. So we have now in the printed form these two things, Kanakadhikaaram, Asthana Golagaram. Let me give a gist, or I don't say I could give a gist. Let me give you a small taste of this two texts, at least Kanakadhikaaram today. Let me give an example for Kanakadhikaaram. This is the form of again poetry. Let me read it. விட்ட மதனை விரைவாய் இரட்டித்து மட்டுனா மாவிதனில் மாறியே எட்டுதினில் ஏற்றியே செப்பிடி வேலும் வட்ட தளவும் தோற்றுமென பூங்கொடி நீ சொல். This is the form. When we read this, we may think it is the some poem written by some poet regarding some Puranas or something like that. But it is the formula for finding the circumference of a circle. See, I said no, it is at least should have been before 15th century. So circumference of a circle, how they find the circumference of a circle. And one more thing, we should go to that period. The people doesn't have the idea of pi, because whenever you talk about a circle, the word pi comes here. Example, area of a circle is pi r square. The pi has not been familiar in those days, but we have calculated the circumference using the diameter. So here I just give it in English. What is given in the text is multiply the diameter with 2, divide it with 5, and then multiply with 8. You will get the circumference. எட்டுதனில் ஏற்றிய செப்படிலேலும் வட்டத்தளவும் தோன்றுமென வட்டத்தளவும். It's a circumference. For finding the circumference, the formula is 2d into 8 divided by 5. If it works, we will just check whether it is working or not. So when we take the radius as example 5 units, when you take this 5 units, the diameter is again 10 units. So according to the text, when you multiply 10 with 2, you get 20. Again, the text says to multiply by 8, divide by 5, which is around 32 units. When you try to find with the modern formula, which is 2 pi r, our modern mathematics says the circumference of a circle is 2 into pi into r. Roughly pi is 3.14. I get 31.4 units, which means the Asian calculation is 0.6 units difference. Again, the value of pi is approximately, we are taking as 3.14. So it is approximately equal. This is the knowledge of Asian people. They can able to find the circumference using the diameter alone without using the value of pi. Again, a second example, if you take the radius as 7 and diameter 14, you can see what is the result you are getting. According to the modern, it is 43, and by our text, it is 44.8 units. So it is the depth of knowledge what we had in our text, mathematical text. So let me go for second example. It is about the area of a circle. வட்டத்தரை கொண்டு விட்டத்தரை தாக்க சட்டென தோன்றும் குழி. Again, kuri is a very common word used for area. Actually, for area, you use kuri. When you go to village, even today in many Tamil villages, they will sell land in the term kuri, actually. 5 kuri. The cost of 1 kuri is, we may know cent, we may know square feet, but in those days, in the term kuri is also used for an area, actually. Very simple formula, no? When you multiply half of circumference with half of diameter, you get the area. So for finding area, you should know the value of pi. Here, see, without the value of pi, half of circumference. So in the before problem, we have seen circumference is 2 pi r. When you divide it by 2, you get pi r. And half of radius is, half of diameter is nothing but radius r. When you multiply this 2, you get pi r square, correct? So pi r into r is pi r square, which is the formula for area according to the modern science. And here, see, we don't need to know the value of pi here. When you know the circumference, let me give an example. When you know the circumference, example, circumference is 20. When you divide by 2, I get 10. When you know the radius, it will be 5. So 10 into 5, it is 50 square units. So unit square. That means without knowing the pi, I'm just getting the area using the circumference and radius. Again, this is the depth of knowledge we had in Tamil in mathematical textbooks. Again, this is very famous theorem, which we got as Pythagoras theorem. And we have one more thought. It is called Bodhaniya theorem. It is the text. Though it is not collected under Kanakadhikaaram, it is a part of Kanakadhikaaram because the Kanakadhikaaram refers to the R mathematical text. So to explain it very easily, if this is a right angle triangle, when you 7 by 8 into a, that is, according to the Tamil text, what it says, divide the 8 in 8 parts and subtract with 1 part, which is means 7 by 8a. And add it with half part of b, 1 by 2b. So you get the C, hypotenuse. We know the modern formula, no? When you take squares of these 2 sides and add, you get the square root of the third side, hypotenuse square, which is called Pythagoras theorem. In those days, it is called Bodhaniya theorem. When you apply the value, you can see very simply, when a is 4 and b is 3, according to this formula, your C is 5, which is exactly correct according to the modern Pythagoras theorem. Also, for lower values, this formula seems to be fit. For higher values, we may not be able to use this accurately. It is only approximate only. But the knowledge of the people in those days, calculating the hypotenuse is also well known to the Tamil people, which is very proved by the Kanakadhikaaram. And I give you only one more example for Kanakadhikaaram. How practically the people taught mathematics. Application oriented mathematics. For example, let me go for a second problem itself. It is the problem in the Kanakadhikaaram. 2 load vehicles are moving in a road. One is heavy and other is light. If 2 coconuts is transferred, the front vehicle become heavy. Then 1 coconut is transferred again to back vehicle. It become equal. How many coconuts were there in each vehicle? We may think it is the logical thinking process or logical thinking problems in nowadays, modern times. But it was the mathematical problems in those days. The people were able to think logically and they are taught to think logically. Many problems in Kanakadhikaaram will be application oriented and logical thinking problems, so that the people are trained again to think logically. Again, the solving problem is very simple. The first vehicle should have 3 and second should have 5. So that if 1 is transferred here, it become equal. Or if 2 is transferred here, it become 5 and become 3. And again, 1 is transferred here, we get equal. When you have 3 vehicles with the same condition, it is 4, 7, 10. I don't want to go inside the problem. The problem is very simple. But my point is how the people are taught in mathematics to think logically by this application-oriented known problems which they can able to see in their life. So this is the knowledge of the people. So with this, I stop the Kanakadhikaaram. We will go for Nigandu. And we can see the problems in the Kanakadhikaaram are many application-oriented and useful to their practical life. So I go for my next topic here, which is called Nigandu, which is very interesting topic. The name is become very unfamiliar today. Even the Tamil scholars, many of the Tamil scholars who have become Tamil scholars by reading the Tamil text of modern Tamil text, they may forgot or they may not aware of this Nigandu. Nigandu is a Sanskrit word and it is a part of Nirukta. Nirukta again comes from Vedas. We know the section of Vedas and Nirukta, you have the part of Nirukta is Nigandu. And how it has been in Tamil, it will be our baby question. So Nigandu, when we translate roughly, it may be Thesaurus. We know what is Thesaurus. Thesaurus gives the equivalent word for a word. For example, when you have a word move, M-O-V, move, it gives the equivalent word for the move, many equivalent word for move, which they call as Thesaurus. But this Thesaurus concept was introduced or found in the 18th century. We can't believe the Nigandu we have is at least 8th century old. Before 8th century also, we should have Nigandu. How it can be proved that we could have Nigandu? The word Nigandu does not appear first in the 8th or 10th century. We have used a different word, which is called Uri Chol Panuval. We have this word Uri Chol Panuval in Tolkapiyam also. And after 12th or 13th century, the people have started using the Nigandu because it may be because of the influence of Sanskritam in Tamil. The same, though the both are same, why should us a separate word? We can use the same Nigandu word to the Tamil. The scholars may have thought and they are used Nigandu. So after that, the common name has become Nigandu for all the texts actually. So in Tamil, what is speciality? What is the difference between Nigandu and Thesaurus? Thesaurus, they just have one word and try to find the equivalent word and then add it. In Nigandu, how they constructed? They constructed these words for a single word in the form of a poetry. For example, they divided the words which have been used by the people popularly and commonly. The name of a Lord Shiva, name of the Lord Vishnu, name of the nature. They call it as Deva Vartegal, the words of God. And they have a different section called worldly words, the words used for the practical life. And what are the words used for the practical life? The equivalent word and synonyms, they are grouped as a poem so that they memorize the chayu. They memorize the word for Shiva. For example, in Nigandu, we have nearly 68 equivalent word, or the 68 shabda for a Lord Shiva. They chant as a prayer all the 68 words so that whenever they came across a word, they remember this word refers to Lord Shiva. The people has a habit of memorizing Nigandu. At what age? Should be below 12. For example, to compare with the modern times, it should be 3, 4, 5 classes. So that after 8th standard or 6th standard, 7th standard in modern, I'm just comparing with the modern ages, when they read any text, any Tamil text, they can able to understand the meaning of the word. So this is the aim of the Nigandu in those days. So it is not Thesaurus. We can roughly translate that Thesaurus. It is not dictionary. Presently we have the habit of using dictionary. Not even many people knows what is Thesaurus, even in the modern times. But we had Nigandu in those century itself. And some of the importance of Nigandu we'll be seeing in the next 10 minutes. So first Nigandu is around 8th century. And before that also there should be Nigandu, because how the Tamil poets or Tamil scholars are trained, in the early stage, a student should memorize Nigandu. After memorizing Nigandu alone, they be asked or they be allowed to read Vyakarana. Vyakarana is a grammar. Nigandu plus Vyakarana learned people is qualified to writing poems. So whenever we have a Sabha, in those days we have a Tamil scholars, we call it a Sangam, no? Sangam. The group of Tamil scholars, they sit together, and if a new poet is writing some poems, it has to be presented before the other poets, and they will ask questions. The other poets will ask questions, and they should be satisfied so that the book has to be published. So they have a basic qualification to become a poet, or basic qualification to become a Tamil scholar, and the very basic qualification is to have Nigandu memorized. So the Nigandu has been memorize in the lower classes or in the lower ages. Then they go for Vyakarana. After Vyakarana, they start writing poem. So in turn, I said, no, if you want to learn mathematics, the textbook of mathematics will be in Tamil poems. The student can able to understand the Tamil poems because they are very strong in Tamil language, the mother language, mother tongue actually. So where it has been taught in all Thinnai Pallikudams or Gurukulams. Even today, we have the tradition of learning Shabda Gosha in Sanskritam. When you want to learn Sanskritam, Vyakaranam, parallelly, we will be learning Shabda Gosha. The Shabda Gosha is Nigandu in Tamil actually. But we have lost the habit of learning, memorizing Nigandu in our lower classes nowadays. So what is the need of a Nigandu? So why it's so important? Here comes, when the British came, or when the foreign people started learning our language, and they try to translate, since they are unaware of Nigandu, they misinterpreted our text. The Nigandu will have different sections, I said before itself. It has the words of a Deva, again the name of gods, name of normal people, name of objects, name of adjectives, name of adverbs. These are the sections in which a Nigandu has. In these sections, there is one important, very important section, we call it as Tamil as Oru Porut Palachul. Pala Porut Oruchul, which means one word which is referred for many words. Many words, but it talks of one meaning. This is one of the section of many Nigandus. For example, I know a word, and the word may have different meanings. So when I try to translate a literature, when I try to learn a language, a new language, I just read the literature. For example, Tirukural, I may think this word referred to that meaning, but it may mean differently. So without understanding Nigandu, without knowing Nigandu, the scholar could not translate properly. So the scholar could not able to understand the text properly, why it has been written, the real meaning of text. So it may lead to misinterpretation, which happened in our country for many long years. So it is very important to get out our Nigandu again in the textbooks, and the students should be allowed to memorize Nigandu in the early stages, because memorizing Nigandu also activates the brain, because you are repeating a poem again and again and again with the words, so that your brain gets activated. It is the positive points of memorizing also. So let me tell you about some of the names of Nigandu. The name of the Nigandu is Uruchol Panuvar till 15th century. After that, the common name Nigandu has been used actually. So many scholars say it is influence of Sanskritam, which has made the Tamil people to have common name between Sanskrit and Tamil, because after 12th and 13th century, we can see many common words between Tamil and Sanskritam. And why should he use a different name for Tamil, since it is already very familiar with Sanskrit? We also use the term Nigandu. And the first Nigandu was Divakaram. It is also called Sethan Divakaram. And Sethan is a scholar, and he is also want to make Tamil people to learn Vedas and many spiritual texts. So he insisted Divakar was written by Divakar, and he insisted to write a Nigandu in Tamil literature. So he has written Nigandu, which is called Divakar Nigandu afterwards, but the actual name is Divakaram, because we don't have the use of word Nigandu in those days, as I said. So they said Divakaram, and it was influenced by Sethan. It has been written in the Divakaram itself, the Sethan, regarding Sethan. So it is called Sethan Divakaram. It was written by Divakar Munivar. And second was Pingalandai or Pingala Nigandu. And there are nearly 44 Nigandu. And you can see many Tamil scholars are writing new Nigandu in the 16th, 17th, 18th century also. We have a beautiful Nigandu written by Arumuga Navala, very great Tamil scholar, which the Tamil world should respect, and Tamil world should praise the Arumuga Navala for the work he has done in Tamil literature and the work he has done in learning basic Tamil. The Bala Padam by Arumuga Navala is excellent basic book for learning Tamil. Our primary and pre-primary students should be able to follow the Bala Padam of Arumuga Navala, so that they can understand the language, they can learn the language very, very easily. And he also written a Nigandu. And there are Nigandu called, there are many Nigandus and different names actually. We have Assyria Nigandu, And we have Nigandu in the alphabetic order also, what we call as Agaradi nowadays. In those days, they also started writing Nigandu in alphabetic order in Tamil. So they call it as Agaradi Nigandu. So Agaradi Nigandu will have a order of words. But before that, the order of words is the name of the god first, because whenever they write Tamil text, they give Kadavul Vaathu. So in the same tradition, they just talked about the names of the god first, then they went for names of the human beings, then they went for the names of the animals, then they went for the names of the objects, then names of the adverbs and adjectives, and they are divided into different sections based on the need of the people. And it has definitely the section which I said before, Orusul Parapurul, Parasul Orupulu. So these are the sections of Nigandu. So when we learn the Palapuru, Orusul, Orusul, Parapul, we can able to understand many interesting thing about the life of the people in those days. Nigandu is an exact literature which we can able to understand the life in those days. For example, it is the we call in Tamil as Kuripu Varthai. Badalam, we have 7 words, no? Bhulogam, something like that. So they give in a single word actually. Yelu Ulagam. So the expansion of Yelu Ulagam is given in the Nigandu, which means people knows about the Yelu Ulagam in 10th or 11th century. So when you're able to compare the words used in the Nigandu with the life of people, we can able to find how the people lived in those days with Dharma, and they're able to follow Dharma because of the knowledge they got from the literatures. This is one of the impact of Nigandu in the life of people. And some of the Nigandu which I said, Setan Divagam, Pingala Nigandu, Sudama Nigandu, Urchul Nigandu, Kayata Nigandu, which is written by Kayata Munivar, Agarandi Nigandu, which follows the alphabetic order of words, Asiri Nigandu, which is Saivet Nool, which talks about more about the philosophy of Saivet in the Nigandu. Let me give you only one example for Nigandu before ending the speech actually. And this is the Madi Tugil, Kosikang, Karakan Chelai, Podavai, Kalintane Tusi, Padamadai, Puttamaruvai, Punaisadiam Param, Pattude Kurai Padam. So again, when you see, it's like some poem written on something, but this is all the name of a sari. Madi, Tugil, Kosigam, Karagam, Thane, Kalingam, Doosu, Padam, Adai, Pattu, Punai, Aruvai, Sari, Ambaram. You can see the Ambaram. Ambaram is the name of this, the cloth actually. Digambaram. When you just compare it with the words which we are using practically, you can able to find that, understand the meaning and inner depth. Puttam, Kurai. Kurai, the word even we are using today. Kurai, Kura Pudavai. When you go for marriages, they use the word Kurai. Padam, Udai. So these are the different names used for a sari. 19 names for a sari. So when a child or a kid can able to recite this type of chayul in his age of 8, 9 and 10, he can able to memorize this. Whenever he see the word in some literature, he can able to connect it with the actual meaning of the word, so that misinterpretation will be less, and learning a language in a deeper sense will be very, very more. So that is the importance of Nigandu. That is the deep depth of a Nigandu. So unfortunately, we don't have reading Nigandu in our Tamil literature today. And the aim or objective of this video is to make this text again available with the society. The text should again become very common with the society, very common with the Tamil people, so that it helps in many ways. The one thing is the memorizing power will increase. Second, the misinterpretation, what have been done for the long years, will be corrected. So when I have experience of talking with a Tamil scholar, when he talk with us, he say how the text has been misinterpreted with the meaning of words. So to correct those misinterpreted texts, we can use Nigandu as a tool actually. So I request the viewers of this video to do more search on Nigandu and teach our kids from the Nigandu, so that they will learn the different names of different objects. And when they go for learning Tamil literature or Tamil text, they can understand the Tamil text in the correct sense actually. And when you can memorize the names of Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, which is given in the Nigandu, it also gives them eternal power and it can show them a way. So this is my small presentation, and I end here introducing you to the two Tamil texts. One is called Kanakadhikaaram and next is Nigandu. And there is a lot more way to go for the audience, for the research scholars to get in this text and get a very big treasure for the contribution of Tamil towards Indian knowledge system. Thank you. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you so much, Vinoth Avargal, for an interesting talk, a brief one on Nigandu and Kanakadhikaaram. As Vinoth Avargal mentioned, this helps understand how at least 1,000 years ago, at the very least 1,000 years ago, but much older actually, there could be roots which might be shared, for instance, with another living ancient language, Sanskritam. So how Sanskritam and Tamil actually overlap, and one of these overlaps could potentially be Nirukta's Nigantu and Tamil's Nigandit. There, Vinod Ji covered different Nigandus starting from 8th century onwards. I have a question for you, Vinod Avargal. If someone wants to read more about Nigandu, which book or books might you recommend, which you think is good information for people to start reading from? After seeing your video, if they get interested, which book or books you think you might be able to suggest, which you think would be good for people to read?
We should start with a book. I don't remember the author. It is not in the printed form, but it is available in a PDF form. So he has done a complete research on Nigandu. Nigandu Araichi. It is around 500 pages. It is available in internet. When you search Nigandu, research in Nigandu, you can get this book. It is the Tamil scholars research complete all the Nigandu and given in a crux form, so that we can understand what is Nigandu, how it is evolved, everything you can understand from this text. So that can be the starting book. Then you can go for Divakar Nigandu and Asiriya Nigandu, and when it can be applied to the present school, you can take some words from the Nigandu and give it to the students for getting memorizing, so that you can taste that Nigandu and the students start learning more actually. To start with, I prefer that research book on Nigandu in internet. It is available as a PDF form. It is around 500 pages. When you search research on Nigandu, you can get this book very easily. It is available in our very famous website of Tamil Virtual University, tamilvu.org. When you go there and search Nigandu, you can get that book. So that can be the first book to start with.
Excellent. And similarly for Kanakadhikaaram, what would you suggest? If somebody wants to start, what would you suggest?
The publication by Saraswati Mahal, Kanakadhikaaram and Asthana Kolagalam will be the basic book. And there are many private publications started using the name Kanakadhikaaram, but the authentic book is by Saraswati Mahal, Kanakadhikaaram and Asthana Kolagalam, both by Saraswati Mahal Library. It is available at least for printing.
Okay. So if you have URLs of both these references, if you could share those URLs with me separately, once this video goes live, we will make sure that in the description of this video, we will have a link to your previous video as well as to these suggestions, reading suggestions of yours, so that people can dive deeper if they are interested. If you can share that later, I would be happy to include that in this, in the description. With those few words, I'd like to once again thank Vinoth Avargal. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the second video with him, brought to you by Indica Bhasha. The first video was more broadly on the language Tamil and the intersection of that with what we call Indian knowledge systems. And in that, the contributions of what has come in Tamil to broadly the Indian knowledge systems. Today, Vinoth Avargal dive deeper into two slivers, one of which has to do with words, which is Nigandu, and another which has to do with numbers, which is Kanakadhikaaram. If Vinod Avargal has more to share, then we might come back with additional videos at a later stage. With that, I'd like to thank him. Thank you, Vinod Avargal, for your time and inputs. Namaskar.
Namaste. Hari Om.